Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us on episode 172 of this podcast. The wonderful Robert Moses Traylor II has joined the show. How's it going, Rob? It's good to have you back.
I'm great. How are y'all?
Great. Glad to hear it.
Also great. Good to see you again. You are here to talk all about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Thanks to the new footage and information we got in last week's Pokemon Presents. That's our main topic for today. We also got a bunch of news, including but not limited to a new Mario surfing image where his body is interesting. We got finally a date for Splatoon 3 Direct. Maybe you already knew. Maybe you already watched it. Mario Course Pass Wave 2 came out, as we have some rumors about data mining and upcoming tracks. A live action Pac-Man movie. Evo happened. Pokemon Presents happened. Lots of stuff. I'm excited for today's episode. Before we get started, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, had a good weekend. It was my birthday on Friday. Had a pretty jam-packed weekend full of goodies and goodness. Had like a party on Friday, like a house party. That was like a co-party with a friend of mine. Rob, you were there. Thanks for coming, man. Also, shout out to Emma and Becky from the Discord. Both of them came. So nice of them to come. I guess you guys were busy or something. That's fine. No worries. I understand. I'm not like trying to throw shade. I'm just, pointing out something that happened in reality. And then,
Happy birthday, David.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking around. No, but it was great. It was fun. And then we there was like a lot of
You know
karaoke
what?
this weekend.
I'm glad I didn't come.
No, it's cool. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm fine. No, but no, it was great. And then I went on like a boat party on Sunday, so I like actually got some sun.
Like a party barge.
Yeah, like a party barge. So got very drunk every night of the weekend and Thursday. So that's been my week. What about y'all? Y'all have a good weekend?
Lots of Xenoblade nonstop for me. I'm 40 hours in now.
It was a great weekend. Got drunk at David's party Friday. Got drunk again on Saturday, just doing my own thing, and then recovered on Sunday.
Very good.
So I don't know how a weekend can go better.
Yeah. If anyone's listening to this podcast and they want to know the secret to happiness, it's just a lot of alcohol, turns out.
Wait a second.
What about you, Patrick? How was your weekend?
It was fine. I don't think I got drunk, but I had an okay weekend. It was not as exciting as everyone else's, it would seem, but that is fine. But yeah, I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Great stuff. Glad to hear.
Did you're doing your game at Games Y'all? Did we already talk about this?
I guess we haven't talked about it. I could say that now. I got asked to bring one of my game jam projects to Games Y'all August 19th for those of you in the Austin area. The evening of August 19th at Batch Brewery and Kolaches, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Great place.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be there. Definitely come check that out. That'd be awesome.
Games Y'all's like independent game developers community get together showcase.
Yeah. It's a fun event for people making games, or if you just like games too, honestly.
It's kind of like a Games for Impact thing sort of situation, right? Like,
right. So like every month now, I think though, maybe even they have been doing this, they try to have a theme for the games that they have people bring, and then the sort of a theme for the evening. And this one is, like impact games. So I'm bringing Spirit of Uku, which is about climate change. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Come support.
But last week on the podcast, we talked about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Got a lot of great comments, a lot of love for our guest Emma in the Discord. Also a nice comment from DCD that David is making me read about. Very nice of DCD to say that I did a good job hosting it, crushed it hosting it, I think he said, even though I hadn't played the game. And also, how did no one ask David if he still wants the series to end with this game? We didn't ask you, David. Do you still want the series to end with this game?
Yes.
Well,
I would like Monolith Soft to move on to something else.
Well, we have some news about that later. We'll go over, but continuing with shout outs over on YouTube, Dylan, our friend Dylan from Geekverse said Xenoblade Combat has so many systems, but in a good way, and that they should Monolith Soft should offer a Xenoblade gameplay counselor certificate program. And Nintendo could bring back Nintendo Power Tips line. It is definitely, I'm sure, a much Googled thing for players of that game. Like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then some comments about things that weren't Xenoblade related exactly over on Facebook. Vincent Goodwin was curious about, we talked about last week in the episode, David and I getting together to kind of share Steam Deck tips. David kind of helped me set up some stuff on my Steam Deck. And Vincent, yes, you were right that David helped me set up EmuDeck and PrimeHack. And what else did you help me with? I feel like you helped me with some system key rebindings that was nice. Like you go into big picture mode so you can change the left trackpad doesn't really do anything.
Lots of little like quality of life things in the Linux mode. So there was like different compatibility tools and stuff. We set up some of that stuff. And then also, I don't know if you've used it yet, but Boiler is a really good app to set up that can kind of help manage your non-Steam games getting added into Steam for you, like from different.
That's what it was. That was one of the big things you helped me with too, is adding non-Steam games and Boiler. Right. Yeah, that's a good tip because I tried to do it after we met and I kind of forgot about that process and it wasn't as pretty.
Yeah. It's not quite as pretty. And then it also like hooks up to this website that can kind of auto download fan made art. So it all your games like look official. You know what I mean? So if you haven't gotten Boiler yet, Vincent, I would really recommend checking that out. Great app.
Yeah. And going into big picture mode is where you go to change some of your key, like yours. Yeah. Isn't that what it is? Yeah.
It's not all a great 100% perfect process yet. They're still figuring stuff out on the Steam Deck side.
I think it's just good for me to practice. But anyway, like using it. But anyway,
learn Linux is basically the long answers.
Over on Twitter, Andrew Valentine, sorry, Andrew, if I botched that one, said need to simultaneously thank and berate David here on Monolith Fiji on the Switch Headz show because he's been playing lo-fi ping pong and it called it gaming crack. So you turned them on to that.
You're welcome.
And shout out to our friend Donnie Meyer over on Twitter, also sharing our podcast and telling everybody to check it out. We appreciate that. We do appreciate hearing from all our listeners and viewers. And like Donnie, appreciate it when you share the podcast. And we also like it when you like and subscribe on YouTube. So please do that. And we'll talk about we got a lot of news to go over here. So there's not much to say here because listener, you know more than us probably. Splatoon 3, they just announced Nintendo's doing a direct on Splatoon 3 on the day this podcast comes out, August 10th. So finish listening to this episode if you haven't already watched it, and then go watch it.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we'll give our thoughts about that next week. I don't know if there's much to say right now. The only thing that maybe we could talk about that I was kind of curious about, because I was actually thinking we should talk about this in the news of like, is there going to be a Splatoon 3 direct soon? And then they announced this. And then I'm like, what does this mean for a regular direct? You know, do we still think there'll be one in September?
Yeah. I think September, early October. I think we'll definitely still get another one, right?
Yeah.
Especially with this coming now in August.
Yeah. It's like a month before the game comes out. So we'll see what they say, or but we will find out and talk about it next week.
The question is, should we change the day we release this fucking show? Because Nintendo loves to drop 6 a.m. Pacific directs on the days this episode comes out. Yeah.
This felt timely until now it doesn't.
No, we're good. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it all next week. Can't wait for that Splatoon test fire that I'm sure they're going to drop.
Ooh. And then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got the Booster Course Wave 2 DLC. Just came out. We talked about it last week. They had announced it, but it is out now. We've presumably had a chance to play through these. I know I've played all of them at least a couple times. How we feel about these new tracks?
I haven't played them.
I haven't seen them yet.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'll
That
say
leaves
my
you
thoughts
two. Yeah,
first.
please.
Yeah.
I think it's great. You know, it didn't carry the same excitement it did when the first wave came out for me. Like I don't know if that makes sense. Like, but I still was excited to play them. And I haven't like played them online with anybody. I've just played them by myself or with my son. And I think I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a nice mix. I honestly think there's man, some of these levels have some fucking great for drifting.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple
Yeah.
of really stellar drifting levels here.
Snowland specifically. I'm not classically a snow level person in any kind of game, and definitely in Mario Kart. Some of the snow levels or ice levels are some of my least favorites. But man, Snowland is great. And it's got that kind of slippery track, but it's not in a way where it's like frustrating. It's like even better. It just like makes the drifting feel even better when you're drifting around on that icy track. Man, what a great one.
What's the name of all the new tracks? The new 4 ones?
I mean, I don't have it in front of me, so
I do, but there's
guess.
Sky High Sunday, which is the brand new one, and we can just quickly run through these. I know a lot of people are kind of critical of this one, but I actually really like it. It's really weird.
It's
like,
the weirdest one.
If you get hit with lightning on this, there are jumps you can't make.
Yeah.
It's strange. There's some wonky physics in like some places, like with the rails and stuff. Like you clip through them, and I don't know.
They give you boosts. The rails do.
It looks weird.
Yeah. It's not animated like the posts that you hit. They give you boosts when you're in anti-grav mode.
Yeah, so it looks like you're just going through
boosts. Yeah.
And there's a couple other weird things about it, but I like that it's like I don't think there's any other track. I said we'd talk about these briefly, and I'm rambling about this.
No, it's all good. No, let's talk about as long as we want.
That goes up so much. Like like I can't think of any other track in Mario Kart 8 where you're climbing this much, and I kind of like that verticalness of it.
Me too. I will say, Sky High Sunday. A lot of people are shitting on it, yes, and I completely understand why. I think that it is a bit jank. I think it's like maybe one of the jankiest Mario Kart courses that are in this game. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. It just means that it feels a little rushed, right? Like it feels like maybe they had to make the deadline to get this out because they wanted it to be a part of this before it got added into Tour, maybe because it is coming to Tour. It's just not there yet. And so it's like, so there's little stuff like that's a little weird about it. There's like a blind jump in it. Basically, like the camera doesn't quite let you see where you're going on one of the jumps unless you know what's going on.
There's no level where you get hit by lightning and you're like, fuck. Like I'm in first, I get hit by lightning, and there are 3 jumps in a row. You just can't, when you're small, you can't make them. Like, it's weird. Like
that's a weird one.
Calamari Desert. This is fun. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I guess it's one where they've added in, now you go different routes, and it's kind of fun when you're on the train tracks, but it's a little weird to get on the train tracks that loop up, and to get off of them is also kind of a weird visual.
And if you stick around in lap 1 at that point, the ramp doesn't load in for you, but you see everybody just flying through the air. It's really funny.
Mario Circuit 3, not a lot to say about that one. It's based on the old Super Nintendo one. A good drifting level. It's
great.
Nice, short, classic.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, to be honest.
Mushroom Gorge. I really like this one from the Wii. It's nice, bouncy. I love the good bouncy mushroom. Like it's got a lot of those, and I don't know, a couple different options. Which I haven't.
Mushroom Gorge was like all of a sudden the muscle memory just kicked right in. You know what I mean? And I just, because it's been both Wii and Mario Kart 7, I think, and so like now having it back in 8, it's just like it's like coming home.
Yeah, I remember that one. I think I did love that one.
It's a great stage.
Sydney Sprint. Which the only thing I have to say about Sydney Sprint is it's super weird that in the Opera House, the sprites are all 2D.
Yeah.
That really just visually upsets me because you have all these 3D waving characters outside, and then you go through the Opera House and they're all flat, and I don't get it.
I don't know.
They're like, well, too bad, we're out of time.
My headcanon for that is that this takes place during COVID, and this is when everybody was putting
they're zoomed in
2D. Yeah, they were putting in like 2D cutouts, so it didn't seem like all the theaters were empty. You know, you remember when we were doing that? It was a weird thing we did back during COVID.
Waluigi Pinball, great level, a lot going on there. well, that one's like well done. Like, or at least on my few races
Wait,
on it.
So is it 8, not 4?
It's 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there's
8.
two
Oh,
two
wow.
cups of 4 each. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Snowland, we already talked about. And then New York Minute, another tour city-based one where you go different routes. It's the only thing that strikes me about New York Minute is it's at night, and there's not a lot of tracks at night. There's a couple, right? Like the one where you're like on street or whatever, Toad's Turnpike maybe, but
Yeah,
it's like
Toad's Turnpike's at night.
but there's a
yeah.
lot of lights and cars, and this one just feels dark in places. And I'm like, oh, get in
New York
dark
Minute-
alley of New York.
New York Minute is like my least favorite. I think it was the first track made specifically for Mario Kart Tour, like, and you can kind of feel that,
It
right?
feels
it's
empty.
yeah.
Compared to the other cities too. It's like, this is fucking New York. Like, why is it so barren?
Yeah, you like drive through Central Park and you go through Rockefeller Center and all this stuff. There's like a lot of stuff, like noticeable spots that you go through, but it's like it's also really weirdly short for a track based on New York, which is like a huge sprawling metropolis, you know. So I don't know. I don't hate that one, but maybe I'll learn to love it. I didn't quite like Paris Promenade when I first played it either, and now I prefer that to the Tokyo one, even though I like them both. But great. This is a great drop of levels. It's super good. I'm really enjoying it. I can't believe we're only a third of the way into this DLC now. We've got 16 levels, and there's, twice as many of
do the math. Yeah. Speaking of which, there's been more data mining, right? And so we don't have to get into the specifics of that, but I guess this is what has happened so far has been proven correct. So this is probably true. And if you look at this, it's pretty well filled out. Like, the data miners have a pretty strong idea of all the stuff that's coming, or at least what games they're coming from and that sort of thing. So if you want to look that up, you can.
We won't spoil that here, but it's definitely some of the stuff I've seen is like, hell yeah, I'm into it. I mean, I think there's only so many Mario Kart tracks out there in the world. So it's like the odds are that like most of my favorites are going to be in this, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely check out that. I think it's like the next like wave is pretty much confirmed from the data mining, and then we know what games the rest of them are coming, so you can kind of make some conclusions after that. But real quick before we move on from Mario Kart, there were some updates to just the general game past just these courses being added, which I found really interesting. That it's now on wave 2 that they're actually like tweaking the base game. But
well, I knew they fixed some stuff from the first DLC. What did they fix base game wise?
Well, so the main thing that they fixed in the first pack of DLC tracks is Coconut Mall now has moving cars at the end of the stage. They kind of go back and forth, or they hop in place, or they do donuts. So it's like not always just going to be them in the exact spot that they were in. So that's a good add. They also made it to where like your tires like show sand and dirt and stuff on them when they go through the courses now, so they don't feel quite as like Mario Kart Tour-y as they did before. Feels a little bit more Mario Kart 8. But overall, they made it to where coins and item boxes respawn faster after other people grab them. Now.
That makes sense. I've noticed that without like thinking about it. I was like, damn, this they just went through that and I got it. Yeah. I had that thought.
So I'm not like necessarily 100% sold on that change, but it definitely makes it a little bit more chaotic and probably ultimately a little bit more fun, right? Because you're not like just cussing at yourself because you didn't get an item. But if you're like trailing behind somebody, you're still going to miss it. But there are like other little tweaks like that in this update. So that's just interesting to me. I think maybe some of these issues that people are having with like Sky High Sunday might get patched out in the future now that there's precedent for it. So it's cool to see. And man, every time one of these packs comes out, I just play a shit ton of Mario Kart. I played a lot with my dad and sister. Yeah, so it's just a great time and a good excuse to play more of that game.
Cool. Well, moving on to Xenoblade. Matthew, I'm going to throw this one to you. I think it's come out that I know Nintendo has sent out emails to people who bought Xenoblade 3 in Japan with like a little message that gives a little more additional information.
Yeah, basically a short message from Monolith Soft, the senior director of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, just said thanks for playing the game. It's out. And kind of gave out some tips about what's happening on in the future with this series. In short, they say that this is probably the end of this set of stories in the
I'm just kidding.
David's raising his hands in celebration of the end of our joy. How dare you? It says it's the end of this story, and gives some tips of how to better enjoy the game, including when you're on the map. There are yellow question marks to engage with yellow question marks on the map. Get curious about some of the stuff because they add additional layer of story that are outside of the main story. And some other hype for the upcoming DLC that happens within the coming year.
I think it's for the best, right? I mean, I think we've gotten now 4 Xenoblade Chronicles games in a row, including 1 remake. You know what I mean? And then 2 standalone DLCs. So it's like, I think it's definitely time for. I mean, it doesn't mean that the next game can't be a Xeno game. They've done tons of Xeno games, but I think this is probably good for them to like stretch out a little bit and try something.
We got 4 mainline games in 12 years. That's pretty good. Original Xenoblade Chronicles came out 2010.
Yeah.
Plus
and,
maybe 5th if you count the definitive edition.
Right. And maybe another. I mean, I feel like if they port Xenoblade Chronicles X, right? So it's like, I think that they would be foolish not to have their B team on porting Xenoblade Chronicles X and then have their A team on a new project, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is neat. It creates more hype for the DLC, the additional story that's coming out in 2023, before the end of 2023. That will kind of further the story of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and how it wraps it up. Whatever that means, no idea. It's a good time to be a Xenohead.
Moving on, Nintendo released some sales numbers. Their quarterly financial report allows us to get a peek behind the curtains at how many Switches and how much software has sold and that sort of thing. So first up, the Switch is now sold over 111 million units of Switch hardware. So that means that like the Game Boy, which sold 118 about, is within sight as the next milestone for the Switch to surpass, probably by the next time we get these numbers, most likely.
Does that include Game Boy Color and Game Boy Pocket as well?
Yeah, they kind of group all those together, all except not Game Boy Advance is
right,
but the other ones. And then so the big one left then would be the DS family, which is 154 point something. And it doesn't seem impossible at all. It seems quite likely if, especially if they put out more hardware and really support this thing for more years. We'll see, It really depends on if their next thing is a new system or still under this Switch system, right? Like,
even then, 40 million this late into the life cycle, that's a tough ask. That'll be hard to catch. But definitely not out of the realm of possibility, but I wouldn't say it's a done deal.
Yeah. In terms of the sort of top selling software, there really isn't much change. The top 10 list, it looks the same. Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, I think have bumped up a spot or two, but that's about it really. So it's all the evergreens, your Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's always selling millions of copies every time they give these numbers. In fact, I think they even show that just in this quarter it sold 1.5 million.
So has the Switch outsold the Wii yet?
It did.
Oh yeah,
it did the time previous to this. So that 3 months ago they told us that it outsold the Wii barely, and now
that's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah. I mean, I guess the caveat to all that is that it is the handheld and the home console, so it's a little unfair to compare it to all these, but at the same time, I don't know.
It's not. It's fine.
It's not.
Who cares? Let's just have some. Let's just be proud of our boy, the Switch.
I've never used my Switch as a handheld device. I don't know why.
That's so really weird. Funny. I mean, okay, I don't mean to shame you, but I find that fascinating.
Yeah, there's multiple
different ways
like
that people use it. Yeah, I know a lot of people that only ever have it docked, right? And it's like, I'm probably like 70-30 handheld. I play this thing in handheld a lot. And it's I love playing it docked too, but it's like, I find it fascinating how big of a difference there is between use cases.
Yeah. Just a couple quick things too. Nintendo Switch Sports sold like 4.8 something million units. So that's decent. That's really good, honestly, right? Like like Mario Strikers sold 1.9.
That's about 4% of Wii Sports.
So those are the games that have come out in this quarter that are new. And
I do think that's pretty good though for Switch Sports, given that it's like no longer a pack-in game, obviously, right? But I bet they are going to try to push up that number by packing it in this holiday season.
Yeah,
I still think that's going to happen.
And trying to bring people back with whatever little golf DLC there is or whatever.
What were the numbers on Strikers?
Strikers was 1.9 million.
Okay.
I don't know what Fire Emblem Warriors was, but that
I don't
was
think they didn't announce it.
It was like it would have had like 6 days or whatever on this. Like if it came out right at the end of June.
Yeah,
so.
but it must. I think it probably bombed. I think it was a bomb. Yeah,
we'll find out next time. Maybe. The other thing that sold pretty well in this was Kirby. The new Kirby game also has high numbers for this quarter or whatever, 1.8 million. And so, that's most of the stuff there. I guess that they said in general that a lot of stuff is down year on year and all that kind of stuff. Not surprising. We're in a recession and yada, yada. The Switch has been out for a while, et cetera, et cetera. Memberships are down a little bit too, but they say they think that's because people own more. Like a lot of the Switch ownership is people buying multiple Switches.
Mm.
But the expansion pack is kind of making up for that difference, I guess. So yeah.
I just looked it up. Mario Strikers Charge for the Wii sold about 700,000 more copies than Mario Strikers for the Switch, but that's lifetime sales and the game just came out. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know that their updates are going to push new people to it. We'll see. But
yeah, probably not. But I mean,
but maybe some people are holding off till all the updates are out. You know, there might be some
get big surges for every game around the holiday seasons.
Yeah. And then moving on to the most important news of the week, a new render of Mario with a surfboard got posted on Instagram. Was it, or was it on Twitter, or both?
It's both.
And yeah, it's a nice little picture of Mario there holding the surfboard. We got to talk about it.
So is it like Mario Surfers? Or,
Mario Surfing Challenge.
That's what we want. Yeah, right.
A whole game of just surfing and like looking out for sharks.
I'll get to this later, but I did get a play date for my birthday this year, and it's got a little surfing game on it. Now I do want a Mario surfing game. Yeah. I think that would be nice.
Yeah. But what is there anything else to talk about with this Mario?
And we should maybe talk about his physiology. I mean, I definitely looked really close at this, and I think I saw nipples, right? You guys saw nipples on this Mario?
Confirmed.
I think I think so, because he didn't have nipples in Odyssey. Is that correct? Or did he?
We need an investigative journalist to.
I think he might have had them in Odyssey, but there's been other renders since, like the ones we've talked about where they were like wondering if it meant something, like
right.
There were some where they would post it and everybody would be like, it's Mario Sunshine 2 because he's got a fruit.
Yeah. So he did have nipples in Odyssey.
But they took them away for a bunch of like random Mario pictures they posted on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, but now they're back, and I think that's very important to talk about. What could that mean?
To add further clarity to the nipple conversation, more examples of nipples in Nintendo games in Sonic and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. They have a swimming game, and many of the characters are shirtless, and when they're receiving their medals on the pedestals. The characters have nipples, including
Wario.
Have
nipples.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So confirmed.
Wait, Wario
has nipples. Dr. Eggman, Dr. Robotnik has nipples. Confirmed. You heard it here first.
Well, I think that next time we should just see his bulge Through his pants.
There is going to be a live action Pac-Man movie, apparently. There's not like a trailer or anything like that. It's just news has come out about it.
Audio listeners of the podcast know that Rob just rolled his eyes out of his head.
What does a live action? Do we really need how do you do
No.
Pac-Man live action? And what is this going to be? My fear is that this is going to be just like every other video game movie where Pac-Man gets sucked into our world. And what's that actor's name? The same one from Sonic. It's going to be James Marsden or whatever is going to like run into
Please,
him
it'll
with
be
his car.
Josh Gad. We all know this.
No, it'll be Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad that I watched the Sonic movies and enjoyed them because now this is happening. And that's
It's
Yeah.
your fault, Robert. Yeah.
that's what it feels
Yeah.
like. Because I'm like, oh man, I didn't think the movies would be good. It was, and now we all have to suffer.
Yeah, this 100%. As soon as I saw live action, I was like, okay, this is a response to the Sonic movie. This is a studio exec being like, what other games do people know? You know what I mean? And then, or either that or Bandai Namco got really jealous of Sega, right? Like if it was a CG movie, I would be like way into it. Live action feels like, yeah, it's going to be Pixels 2, basically, but with arms and legs this time.
What bums me out about it is like, to me, Pac-Man doesn't have a personality. So I'm just like, what are you making this movie off of? I mean, was there a cartoon of Pac-Man?
There's been a
Yes.
couple.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then they're probably doing that. But
Pac-Man
I've never
has
seen
a
it.
personality for sure. Like
I don't-
I've always liked Pac-Man as a character. I think it
Yeah.
could be good, but it is kind of cringe.
Yeah,
The
all I
shows
know
are
about Pac-Man is
okay.
that arcade machine. So I'm like, all right.
Well, yeah, I think that's like a fair, and that's what most people know Pac-Man from, the original Pac-Man, which doesn't have, much. But there are the cartoons, and some people have grown up with them, and yada yada,
Yeah.
and all that. So,
I like my
Wow.
Pac-Man to have arms and legs and a really long nose. Yeah, that's my Pac-Man from Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. I think that's what the game's called.
I don't have any idea how they're going to translate this to screen. Maybe they start in Pac-Land because they're partnering with some industry folks to make this movie. People that have worked on tons of stuff, like people that worked on Sonic the Hedgehog, Brother Bear, Little Mermaid, Lion King, Aladdin, the animated ones, as well as Fantasia and some other horror movies. Here's my pitch. My pitch is we start on Pac-Land, get sucked into the real world, and then the ending teasers, you see Miss Pac-Man. You see the bow.
yeah.
I don't think we will, dude. I think they're trying to canonize Pac-Mom now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think like
The
because
hat, you'll see the hat.
I think they're truly being like, fuck Miss Pac-Man. As soon as we put it in a movie, people are going to forget.
All right,
Miss
baby
Pac-Man
Pac-Man
even
it
ever
is
existed.
then.
Yeah.
Well, we can move on. Just mention this one. I thought it was interesting that the Xbox Series S, Microsoft is going to be freeing up some memory in it. Not like a ton of memory, but because the Series S, which is the slightly less powerful and more affordable version of the Series S Pipe X, haven't had a chance to say that in a while. Of the two, they're going to be adding hundreds of additional megabytes of memory somehow to, I guess, to allow it to keep up, right? Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
crazy
I have
that
no
they
idea.
can do that.
No idea how this is going to work out. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, somehow they're tweaking the amount of memory that's goes to non-gaming things, like whatever's used in the background or for the OS or whatever. So that will then be
It'd be
available
funny if
for
you could like
gaming.
download hardware in an update. That's the future.
More
right?
space.
Yeah. I need a matter compiler.
And then we'll move on to the next news item. I don't know a whole lot about this. Maybe David, you can talk about this. Night Dive Studios had like an interview where they kind of admitted, I guess, some of their mistakes with a recent release, or re-release rather, of Blade Runner, the enhanced edition, which came out this summer, right?
Yeah. I bought this game when it came out because I'm a big Night Dive fan. Some of you will know one of our former guests, MVG, is a developer for Night Dive Studios. And I just found this interesting. There was an article that was put up, I think on PC Gamer, maybe, that was about just like kind of the state of the game that it was shipped in. It was very controversial. It was kind of a rushed job, which Night Dive is not usually known for. They do a lot of ports of old games and usually put a lot of really nice work into it. And,
Yeah, they done ports for like Turok, Quake, Doom 64, etc.
Exactly. A lot of those first person ports are all on Switch, and they're really fully featured, and it's like definitely the best way to play those games, right? And so this was uncharacteristic to have such kind of a buggy, broken port of a game from them. And I just thought it was nice to see the CEO of the company kind of just come on and be like, hey, yeah, here's kind of the issues that we had. We're not trying to make you forgive us or anything like that. It's not an excuse, but rather just like, this is what we're working through. This is why it happened. And then this is what we like plan on doing next. And so it's just nice to see a company like that has made a fumble, not just be like, well, fucking you guys are the problem. You know what I mean? Like you hear like so often. And I was just really nice to see that. And I'm looking forward to playing it because I actually like haven't played it that much, and I'm kind of glad because most of the time when games like get patched and get better later on, I've already beaten the game and I don't want to go back to it again. Like Sonic Origins just got a big patch, right? I don't know if I'm going to see a lot of that because I just beat that game, right? So we'll see, but I'm looking forward to playing it now that a lot of those issues are solved.
Evo 2022 just wrapped up the big fighting game rather convention, and there was a bunch of announcements at it. Obviously, lots of fighting game tournaments. Street Fighter V was one of the big ones, and Multiverses was there, and there was several announcements, like a new Fatal Fury game. Right? Is that that was one of the big ones? I don't know. Was there any other big announcements that are meaningful to any of y'all? I know there's some stuff.
Did you mention Dragon Ball Fighter Z?
No.
Dragon Ball Fighters. The biggest thing with that, I mean, Dragon Ball Fighters is huge in the fighting game community, and they announced that game, which I don't know, came out 3 or 4 years ago, is getting rollback netcode.
Oh,
not on Switch though.
Oh, not on Switch. I didn't know that. Okay, this is news.
This is kind of a trend because that Persona Fighters game as well got rollback netcode on everything else. Nick All-Star Brawl has rollback on everything but Switch. Maybe it's just one-on-one matches have rollback on Switch and everything else doesn't, but it seems like it's something that the Switch has a problem with, right? Which is a real shame, but yeah, there's some other stuff. The Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade 1-up cabinet is coming out, which has been a hugely requested one. It's very expensive. And some Street Fighter 6 characters and stuff like that. So if you're into fighting game stuff, definitely check out some of the announcements out of Evo.
I've watched some of the videos from Evo. This is the first in-person Evo since 2019. And it's cool to see gamers get together and get hype and yell at a screen. It's fun.
Yeah. The pop-offs.
And then our last news item, which will take us into our main topic, is that, yes, there was this big Pokemon Presents video live stream that happened on, what was it, the 3rd, I believe, of August? It happened recently. And we'll save the, Scarlet Violet stuff to go over that in the main topic, but maybe we can just hit the other news, which I don't know if is much interest to anybody here, but we'll kind of rattle it off. Speaking of fighting games or like in tournaments, there's going to be a big, for the first time in several years, the Pokemon World Championships are happening this month, actually very soon in London. They spent some time talking about that. There's going to be a new big global event, Pokemon Go, on August 27th for people that are still playing that. We have already heard some news about Pokemon Unite having its first anniversary and all that kind of stuff. And then some of the other Pokemon games, which I don't know if anybody cares about. Pokemon Cafe Remix, they're getting new content. Does any of that care? Did anybody here care about any of that?
No, not really.
Yeah, ultimately not really. Yeah.
I was watching the Direct, and the first 10 minutes were like, all right, just let me move on. I mean, I understand that people who, mostly kids, they love this and the game is really for them. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. But man, Mewtwo cooking food. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Pokemon Cafe Remix is a miserable experience of a game. Nobody play it.
It's so hard.
It's horrible. Yeah, it's just a miserable, boring, just sludgy, trudge, pig shit trough of a game. But sorry if you're
don't hold back.
Yeah. Thank you for heightening that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. I do like the trophy. They showed off the trophy for the Pokemon
the
World
Pikachu
Championships. Yeah,
trophy.
It's like a cute Pikachu on a trophy. That's nice. Yeah, and then Unite has a whole like kind of Pikachu mode coming. I think we need to talk about that big buff mosquito. Maybe what's that?
Or Buzzwole?
Buzzwole, right?
Yeah, it's not new. It's from Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay. But this is my first time having any sort of exposure to him. And I think we need a new emoji in the Discord. This has got a lot of buff emojis in the Discord. And this is a bug that has swole in its name. Which is pretty fucking funny to me. See, that shows how plugged in I am into Pokemon that I didn't even know that was a Pokemon already.
Yeah, all the Ultra Beasts look like a human and a Pokemon got like sucked through a dimensional portal and got like merged together, and they're all humanoid but like really freaky looking. And I did not capture them when I played Sun and Moon. I was just like, I'm good.
Don't want to look at that anymore.
Yeah, I don't want that on my team. There's
and like
disturbing about
Sun and
them.
Moon experimented with a humanoid looking Pokemon quite a bit because traditionally they've been kind of more animal looking ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where we got what's his name from Smash, right?
Lucario?
Wrestler.
Incineroar.
Incineroar. Man, fucking, I'm not doing good on memory this episode. It's like I'm gonna blame that on COVID brain fog sticking around for several months.
Sorry, everyone, COVID.
Yeah, exactly. It's the great excuse for the rest of our lives. But yeah, definitely, we're getting to a point now where it's like every Pokemon Presents opens with these 4 games, like the mobile games, basically. Go, Unite, Masters, and Cafe, right? And then go right into it, into whatever game they're actually trying to show off on this thing, right? I will say Pokemon Sleep, again, as a no-show. We're going to count that thing as vaporware? Is that?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that and was so intrigued.
You think they dropped that?
Similarly, never any news on this Detective Pikachu sequel,
Right.
Not that I'd expect it here with this announcement, but it isn't every year there with Pokemon, so like when are they going to actually talk about that if it's real? But whatever.
You talk about like the Switch game.
Didn't they talk about it being a sequel on the Switch game at some point?
Yeah.
But that was like years ago.
They were like, we were going to do that, but Mewtwo cooking.
We could instead we added Mewtwo to Cafe.
That was kind of cute. Mewtwo cook some food. Yeah.
Well, obviously the big part of this presentation for most people was the stuff about Scarlet and Violet, and we're going to go over that in our main topic after this short break. All right, we are back, and this week we are talking all about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, which are coming out in November, but we just got this Pokemon Presents. That fucks me up every time. Pokemon Presents, I want to say presentation, and that sounds dumb, but I'm doing it.
That's why we call it a Pokemon Presents presentation.
That sounds weird too.
Little gifts that the Pokemon company gives us.
At any rate, they gave us this event, and there's a lot of information and footage from these games. How do y'all feel about this? So far?
They started this segment of Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet with 3 costumes of our main starter Pokemon: Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. So
it's Sprigatito.
Oh, thank you. Sprigatito,
Yeah.
Fuecoco, and Quaxley.
Yeah.
And so that tells me that somewhere out there, I will be able to buy a Quaxley costume.
He is adorable.
Quaxley. I mean, they're all
Yes.
adorable. I think all of the starters this go round are looking great. Yeah. Another thing that this started with that was not as I know Matt, you were excited by that. Something that was disappointing to me immediately upon the beginning of this trailer was it opening with a shit ton of voiceover, but a thing happening right before the voiceover being like, hey, just so you know, there's no voiceover in this game.
Is that what it said? I know it said that this
Yeah.
is like not the, but does that confirm or deconfirm voiceover? We don't know, but it's
I
not
don't
a good
know that
sign.
the language was necessarily 100%, but that's certainly how I took it,
Yeah.
right? As being like,
Yeah.
this is for this trailer and there's not going to be any actual dialogue, spoken dialogue in this game. Yeah.
Let's hope that's not the case, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably safe to bet.
Not to just open up this whole discussion with a really negative thing, because I think that like this game actually looks really good, but like it's high time that there's voice acting in Pokemon games, right? Like
we just saw it in this trailer and it was nice, right? Like,
yeah. It was great, and it's like, and playing Xenoblade Chronicles, it's like, man,
There's so much voice acting in Xenoblade Chronicles.
Imagine if there was no voice acting in that game. You just had to read all. It's just like 2022. It's the year of our Lord, 2022. Like, please, I can't read anymore. Okay, after all this COVID brain fog, please.
Well, Robert, what was the thing that struck you initially?
The first thing I saw that I really liked was the co-op. I think that's awesome. That was the first thing I was like, damn it, I'm gonna buy this game. Like, I always say, like, this is probably my last Pokemon game. It's not gonna pull me in, and the idea of playing with other people, like leveling up, I was like, oh man, that sounds kind of cool. I really want to do that. Also, it looks like you just have your legendary from the start of the game and just kind of use it like an HM whore. I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird. Like I was kind of wondering about that because it does kind of suggest that was one of the kind of early things too. They show these motorcycle like forms of them, as well as you can turn them into gliders. So for ease of getting around, which makes sense. But yeah, it does seem like you would get it early game, or else what's the point?
Yeah, and one of them doesn't even use its wheels. It's just like
it's runs.
I was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna buy the blue one then.
That's
Violet.
So Violet is the futuristic one, and then Scarlet is the one that's kind of like more past themed, I guess, right? Like,
and that's why it runs.
Yeah,
I suppose so.
It's like a Flintstones like motorcycle.
Yeah. It's funny looking. I know a lot of people online that are like, okay, well, I'm going with Violet now because I don't want to look at that for the whole game.
It was just pretty funny to see them next to each other and be like, this is not the same thing. Why are you showing it to me like these are both equally cool?
And the one that runs still has wheels. They just don't do anything. Yeah. It's like it looks like a big goiter and then like a big nutsack like underneath on the back. And it's not a good look, I think. But just talking about the mounts and the legendaries, I think that drives home that this really is, they're treating this whole thing as wild area, right? Like the entire game is wild area in this, where before it was like, oh, exit the town, and then there's the wild area in Sword and Shield, right? Or the kind of area-based open world of Legends Arceus, which I think also was good. But I think having this big interconnected world, maybe we just jump into it. Is this the Breath of the Wild moment for Pokemon? Are we finally there? Or is this going to be more iterative?
I mean, in the original, in this presentation, at the top, they call it an open world RPG.
Right.
After the disclaimer.
There's that image of the Pokemon trainer like up in a tower that looks an awful lot like a Breath of the Wild tower, and the way they kind of like go around it.
When they showed the map, you can see like there's like 18 or something of those towers all throughout. So that it's definitely going to be unlocking parts of the map by climbing towers. If you're familiar with any Ubisoft game, you'll be familiar with this concept as well.
Yeah, I did love seeing that the game was going to stay open world. That's why I got the last Pokemon, the Arceus, because I was like, I got to try it, and it was good. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And they're expanding this one. Another big thing I loved, it's probably the first thing I noticed, was Pokemon trainers go to school now. I was like, oh my God, thank you. like, like, hey, so we just finally realized y'all are 10 and should probably be in school. So we're gonna do that. You can still do your training and battles, but in the seat at 8 a.m. I was like, thank you. Like that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
it actually does logically feel a little better than being like, hey kid, go out into the wild. You know what I mean? Or if you do, at least it's under some like academy or whatever. And it just feels like Harry Potter-esque too, the way they showed it and all that.
Overall, I thought it was a great trailer. Like it the crystal thing, I forgot the name, but
Terrastal or something.
Yeah, that's close. It's just the next gimmick. I knew it was coming. It's fine, but there were so many other good things that were there that I was like, you know what? I thought once again, I'm not gonna get this Pokemon game, but no, I probably will because there's enough there.
Before we get to the open world or the multiplayer stuff too, they kind of focus on the fact that you can, you're gonna be at this academy and you're gonna be sent out on quests to like the typical Pokemon gym battle story, but that there are other stories as well. And also that you can do the gym stuff in any order. So first on that, I have a question. What do y'all think about that? I mean, I know people are excited about that, but are you worried at all about
the any order?
Yeah. Like, in a game where you can do stuff in any order, sometimes that's great, but sometimes there's weird difficulty balancing. I'm curious, do you think they'll address that by just scaling or just having it be easy, or, you know what I mean? Like,
there's been a lot of discussion about this online on whether or not it is going to scale, right? Because I think that there is kind of evidence either way that they're going to be doing that. I think they have to scale it, right? Like with each gym, because there can be like a way that's like Xenoblade is a great example of this, where like you can go and fight level 20 people at the very beginning of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 if you want. You're just going to get your ass handed to you. But if you play really smart, maybe you won't, right? But it's like, I don't think that would be smart for them to do in this game, right? Because what that's going to mean is you're going to go and get really strong because you want a challenge at the beginning of the game, and then you got to go back and beat like a level 5 fucking Pidgey, or whatever at a gym with your level 80, whatever. Right. So it's like, I really do hope it's scalable, gyms, and that it just kind of, depending on how many badges you already have, the Pokemon are like an X percentage of level or whatever. And then I think if they did that, then depending on whatever starter you have, you can still kind of pick the easier matchup. Right? Like you can go, like if you pick the water, you can go to the fire gym first. And then that is, or later, right? Or whatever, and have that be easier that way. And so I really hope that that's the case in this, but there's, to be honest, there's still a lot we don't know about exactly how this game is going to work as an open world RPG, right?
Yeah. Any other thoughts about that, the gym battles arc? Do share, but also, what do you think about this 2 other stories thing? Like, any thoughts on what those are or what you want them to be? If they're not going and fighting battles, what will they be?
I feel like almost all of the Pokemon games have an additional storyline to just getting all the badges and being the best. You know what I mean? Like trainer,
like in a Sword and Shield, like that after game thing. It was like a deer, and then the thing that's like sitting on top of it. I don't remember the name, but that was like its own side story. So, but it was DLC. So I guess it's like, or was that DLC? I don't remember. But that's the only thing I can imagine is like we have those other stories in there that you can do if you want, but you can just do the main story if you want. I really hope is that there's legendaries in this game. Like true, go out there and get the legendaries. Because I feel like we missed out
not just one they give you at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah. That made me a little worried. I was like, so they're just there the whole time. Like, why is this game hard?
I bet there will be. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's good. Anything they could do to expand. Like, I don't think that you need to do away with the Pokemon formula. It's just like take lessons that you learned from Arceus about what made that game so good, right? incorporate that stuff, like you got to think that there's not going to be any more random battles, period, in this game, right? Or random Pokemon encounters, rather, right? Like, I really hope that you just see them all out there in the open world, running around in the grass like a real life creature would. You know what I mean? Because that would be definitely foolish to go back to that after Arceus did that so well, right?
They showed off some of the characters. I don't know if that was exciting for anybody, and kind of gave all their names and stuff. But maybe we want to talk about the multiplayer.
Well, hold on.
We got to talk about the characters.
Let's not gloss over how hot all the fucking gym leaders are. That's right. I mean, the professors are hot. The gym leaders are hot. They just like yassified all of the Pokemon, like human characters in this game, right? Am I crazy?
I noticed like everyone's hair is two-toned. Like I was like, who is doing everyone's hair in this world? Like, damn.
Everybody has 2 hair colors.
Yeah.
And like perfectly styled, and they're all hot. And I was like, I'm not gonna go any further than that.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, just the hot profs from the start of this game, it seems. And then maybe we could take this opportunity to just kind of talk about the graphics a little bit. Like, I think you're grimacing a little bit, Patrick, but I think this game is looking really good. I think this game, it's hard to remember. You want to feel old? Arceus came out this year. Maybe that makes us feel young.
Arceus looks bad to me. Like, Arceus if you do like a side by side with this, then it definitely looks better. Yeah,
I think this looks like the best looking Pokemon game yet, right? I think like they just got, not only in just the raw graphics and draw distance and whatever technical stuff like that, but I think like art direction. I feel like they're finally, like, Arceus was starting to feel that way, but then just kind of looked like ass. But like this game feels finally like it's not an up-resed 3DS game to me. You know what I mean? It feels like it's being designed for a next gen system, where like Sword and Shield felt like it was like originally going to be a 3DS game before they like kind of abandoned the 3DS and moved everything over to the Switch. You know what I mean? And they kind of like had to adapt it eventually, right? This definitely feels like a lot prettier to me and feels a lot like a more realized world. So I'm happy to see that personally.
Yeah, there's some additional dimension to some of the models for the Pokemon. I think it starts on that view of Arcanine, where it just shows kind of more of the fluff of the model.
Definitely best looking so far. Whether that that's enough or whatever. Maybe not for me, but multiplayer. Let's talk about multiplayer, because that's great. It seems like they've got a couple different things going here. They said like you go to Union Circle or something to play, which I'm assuming is someplace on the map, to do co-op play with up to 3 of your friends. And I don't know, I didn't get a good sense of, in the other game there was like a specific area where you could do it. Do you think in this game you can wander anywhere with your friends?
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah,
it looks like I was seeing 4 people roam around and just like leveling up, just kind of playing the normal game, and that was very intriguing to just play the whole game together. I was just like, how was that? I've got to see that.
Well, it's the fact that you go to a place to bring them in makes it feel to me like maybe, like, I don't know that like progression is going to carry over if you, like, I don't know that you could play a whole game co-op and then just get to keep all the Pokemon that you get. I mean, like, that would really be the best, but it's like, can you like fight gyms together? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's going to be mainly kind of like, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's good that they're doing this and you can run around the world together. And I do think that you'll be able to run around anywhere, because I do think it's like a borderless open world, right? So it would be really weird if you couldn't do that. But
you might get some like Animal Crossing notifications like, you can't do that when you have friends over. You know what I mean?
Or a friend's flying over, it cuts to a cutscene of the fucking,
You probably just kind of like enter towns while you're with your friends or something.
Yeah.
Like out in the wilderness, I don't know.
Or maybe it's just the like going out and catching experience. Maybe that's kind of what, because it doesn't seem to me like it's a fully like playable from start to finish co-op game, like something like Borderlands or something like that, right?
Yeah. Maybe no gyms, but you can do raid battles in multiplayer.
That's right. And which I guess is kind of coming back from Sword and Shield, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's been around, or it was in Arceus, right? I'm getting those two games confused.
I don't think
Yeah, I
Arceus
don't
had
think so.
any multiplayer. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That's right. That
It
was
was
like
just
my
trading.
big bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ties into the gemstone terrestrial thing. You can get rare Terra type Pokemons more commonly in these raid battles. And those, I don't pretend to understand it all, but Pokemon now have a Terra type, which when you turn them into the shiny gem things, they can change types because of that, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, it's like this game's mega
Thing.
evolution or whatever, right? Yeah, it's the gimmick
Yep.
of this game. Yeah. There's always got to be one. I mean, at least this one's pretty.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
visually okay.
the
Yeah.
shiny creatures. Yeah.
The raid battles looked like really like there was just so much going on, like the flashes and sparkles everywhere. I was just like, I'm probably never gonna do that, but everything else I loved, and
Yeah, and
I knew
they
it was
did-
coming.
They did say that it will be like you're not like waiting around for your other teammates to take their turns. It'll be all simultaneously happening.
Oh, okay.
and
Like
I don't
Mario Golf Super Rush.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I assume you still have cooldowns on your attacks and stuff, but it's not affected by other people. What they're
Very
what I mean?
interesting. Yeah. So that almost feels like it's more like an MMO or something,
But
right?
it sounds more like Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Instead of tapping on the screen, just hitting buttons, button mashing.
hmm
I think those are all good things. All the things we've talked about, or most of the things we've talked about. It seems like this game is an improvement on everything. And I think somebody was like maybe Steve Irwin or somebody in the Discord said is like Pokemon's moving in the right direction, but I don't know that I'll pick it up right away. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel. Like I'm interested in this one more than any other Pokemon. But
Well, it's like
I'm not
every
sure.
Pokemon game, even the ones that are like disappointing, review really well. You know what I mean? It's like even when they don't change anything and it's just the same old formula, it always reviews well. So it's like it's one that you kind of want to like talk to your friends about. You know what I mean? Like the ones, but then it's even hard because like a lot of times it's like Pokemon fans like are content just fucking shiny hunting for hours and hours that I would, that would bore me to tears. You know what I mean? But like a lot of Pokemon fans are just like into that kind of stuff, right? Like, are you a shiny hunter, Rob? Is that like you into that kind of
No.
gameplay?
I mean, back when I was like 14 and I'd beaten the game, I'd start looking into that. But no, that's nothing I would do now.
Yeah.
I am glad they're not like making games for those kind of people though. Like, let's just continue on for the next generations and improve, which I think they're totally doing. I think since Sun and Moon, they've been on the right track, just making little tweaks and kind of bringing us into this new world, but slowly. I was actually thinking about the voice acting thing. They should add in just like people making noises, like yeah, like you throw your Pokeball, yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the game after that, let's give them full voices. Like let's wait
just
way too much.
cutscenes, and then like it'll
Both
be a
of those
slow
sound
rollout.
effects, both of y'all sounded like Hagar from Final Fight. So I'm in.
Oh,
I mean, is
man.
it enough? I mean, I think that maybe we should have a bit of a conversation about Game Freak and how quickly they make these fucking games that I don't feel like they can iterate as much as they probably should from game to game. Right? Does that make sense? Maybe I worded that wrong. What I'm
I
saying
think
is
I
like,
get what you're saying.
if they had 2 years in between games coming out or whatever, or longer than they do, right? Again, let's remember we're getting 2 open world and air quotes Pokemon games this year with Arceus and now this, which is kind of more of a true open world game. But it's like, and they're both made by Game Freak, right? And so it's like,
I mean, if you look from November to November, there's 3 big Pokemon games.
yeah, you're
in that
counting
span.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining
Yeah.
Pearl. Yeah.
Which
And
is so
so-
it sold almost 50, but that game sold almost 15 million units
Yeah.
by now, which is like that's why, right? That's why they pump these games out.
Right,
They sell
yeah.
so well.
They consistently sell, but I think that's where we're getting this problem where it's like every Pokemon game that comes out, it's like 1 or 2 things are tweaked and going in the right direction, where really we want like a lot of these features, but you can only ever count on like 1 or 2 coming in with every kind of iteration of the mainline Pokemon series, right? Like I don't know. It just feels like, man, you have so much fucking. Do you really need like that much money every single year? Like you have so much in reserves. The Pokemon Company, like and Game Freak. It's like, I just feel like you would make a lot of money from like something that you push off to somebody else, like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You know what I mean? Like that could have taken up a year's spot. And I don't know, just to me, like Arceus, I loved Arceus, but it felt underbaked. And like, I'm worried that this is going to feel the same way.
I feel like this was probably underbaked because they were working on Scarlet and Violet. They're just like, you know what, let's just not put that much time in this game because we got a next game coming out and that needs to be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
They probably should have more time in between. I'm not sure why the big rush. I honestly forgot about Diamond and Pearl until just mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, that happened. Like,
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Well, it was so forgettable. It was like a straight remake. Like there was nothing changed about it. Yeah.
But yet it's one of the top 10 selling games on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, for Scarlet and Violet, like, for Game Freak, like, what does success look like for, like, number of units sold? For Arceus, that sold 12 million. Brilliant Diamond sold, looks like, just under 15 million. Then for Scarlet and Violet, is that more than 15? We talking, like, 20 to 25 million?
Sword and Shield were somewhere in that range, or are currently, so... They must, I mean, that's got to be crazy to expect your game to sell 20 million units, right? To be like, if we don't sell 20 million, we're in trouble.
It's a failure.
And for it to be a game like this, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it doesn't take effort and they haven't, now that it's all 3D and open world, that probably takes a lot of effort. But yeah.
I mean, Sword and Shield only came out in 2019.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think as long as it is better than Arceus, you're good.
Just go back to the beginning, the first 10 minutes or however long of that Pokemon Presents. Pokemon, they want to just crank out as much shit as they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's all these mobile games. It's not just one mobile game, right? It's a puzzle mobile game, a AR one, a MMO one, or whatever, or MOBA one.
Let us not forget Pokemon Mouth.
They're not. They're not trying to.
Dare we forget Pokemon Mouth?
I know it's called Pokemon Smile, but I like to call it Pokemon Mouth.
It's a much better name. It's more appealing.
Yeah, they're not sitting there like holding on, waiting for the right moment. They're throwing everything at everything. It seems like, at all times.
Yeah, and part of this, the bigger thing, all this stuff is to sell more merch, sell cool plushies. And one thing they announced during Presents was at the Pokemon World Championship, they would have a Pokemon Center, which a bunch of new merch.
Yeah, biggest ever or whatever. They said or whatever.
I mean, I want to go there.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds great. Yeah. As much as I don't play like all the games, I'm still enamored by Pokemon. Like I get the I want to get a cute plushie. Matt, I know as soon as it's available, you're going to buy a giant mascot sized costume. Hell, fuck yeah. Starters.
I already have 2 Squirtles. Let's get 2 Quaxleys.
It'll be the water type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's going to ever change. Right. I think that like this is the pattern that we can expect is that the dream Pokemon game that we want to play will be around in like 10 years. every single time, you know what I mean? There's going to be like 4 games in between that slowly iterate quality of life features and improvements. And then like voice acting, we're not going to get until like 2032 is what I'm saying.
The catch is that other games will have advanced stuff and Pokemon will be behind still, you know?
It kind of mirrors Nintendo in a way, right? Like Nintendo is always behind technologically behind everybody else, but they eventually like get features just like well after everybody else has already got them. It's just, I don't know. They're very similar companies and it makes sense as to why.
Yeah. They don't need to do anything different.
They're both in Redmond, Washington, at least the US branches.
That's why.
Yeah. Something in the water in Seattle.
To close this out, maybe bring us back to Scarlet Violet. Is there anything from the presentation we didn't hit that anybody wanted to make sure, or anything that you're hoping for or looking forward to about these games?
Not really have any expectations.
That's probably good.
I'm curious what everyone's favorite starter is, though. I'll go first.
I couldn't tell you.
Really? Oh, it's definitely Quaxley.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's Quaxley, 100%.
Just watching him run behind his trainer, I was like, oh, hell yeah. It's going to be him. That is adorable.
I like the cat, the Sprigatito.
Sprigatito? Oh, yeah. See. I mean, I like Sprigatito as well. I mean, I also like Fuecoco, but I just always tend, except for the very first one, which I was a big Squirtle guy on the first one. I'm with you on that, Matt. I always find the fire starters to be like the coolest and like the funnest and the cutest to me. And so it's like, so I don't want to just like go with the cute little apple dragon or whatever this fucking thing is. But I think I'm leaning towards Fuecoco, but I do also like Sprigatito. And I also just like Quaxley's kind of attitude. I like he's like a dapper little boy. I think that's kind of like a nice look. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't decided yet. I'll have to flip a 3-headed coin. But I will say, looking at the map itself of the Paldea region, which is essentially Spain, what I like about it is that it looks like it's built for an open world game, right? You've got kind of like what is assuming to be like the end game area in the center, and then it's kind of like a big circle, right? So it feels like you'll probably get started off and like one of the sides, and then it'll be kind of like slowly pushing you towards the areas that are right next to it. But if you want, you can go all the way around the circle and kind of like explore the other ends, right? So what I'm hoping is that there is a bit of that exploration aspect to it, because I think that's what makes like a Breath of the Wild type game, like the most fun I had in Breath of the Wild was like opening up the map and like having that completionist kind of like feel of like, oh, that thing over there, I can see it, I can go to it. You know what I mean? So I hope that there's like, I don't know that means that I hope that there's climbing or something like that. But I mean, I think Arceus actually did that pretty well, right? Like with your mounts, you could like jump up really high or fly, or you could go to all these areas. So I hope that kind of element like is worked into this in a good way. And just looking at the map right now, it like I'm getting a good feel for that. So I don't know. I'm a little bit, I will admit, I'm like a little hyped for this game, and maybe overly so, because this happens every time a new Pokemon game comes out, and then I'm always like a little bit disappointed. But right now I'm very cautiously optimistic for Scarlet and Violet. I think it could very well be the best game in the series.
This day one purchase for me. I think I love the open world. I do enjoy that we get the legendary. We get a vehicle right off the bat, so it inspires exploration and just to like climb stuff and fly around. Anything that I would say that would talk me out of it. I'm a sucker, so let's buy this day one for me. Patrick, how about you? What are you gonna do? You gonna buy this or use our copy?
Yeah, you're a prolific Pokemon hater. Is this going to turn you around?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely more open to this than a lot of the previous ones. I was kind of interested in Arceus, but it just looked so muddy to me playing it, and it felt so weirdly empty. I'm a little bit worried this might feel the same way, but this feels a little bit like the graphics, like you said, or a little more colorful, better, or whatever. I think this is gonna, like, I'd be very interested to play this game with my kid. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun, but I don't know if he loses interest. I might lose interest. You know what I mean?
And get ready to read a lot out loud, you know?
Yeah. Well, he can read now. Now. So I ain't reading everything out loud.
Not after all the brain fog.
Total aside, but yeah, definitely like this summer, he wanted to play Paper Mario or Origami King again. I was like, you're reading that by yourself. And also this counts as like reading practice. You know what I mean? Like, we read today.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
Yeah. I hope it's good.
Robert,
it's good.
Yeah. Robert, you got anything else to say?
It probably won't be a day one purchase. It'll definitely be a this year purchase. Like, definitely by Christmas, I would buy this for myself.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it definitely looks worth the buy, but unless like everyone buys it and I realize I'm the only one who didn't. I'm not gonna rush.
Fair enough.
That very well might happen. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be up. I don't think it's going to hit Mario Kart, but I think that this could even surpass like Animal
Sword and
Crossing.
Shield, at least.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to surpass Sword and Shield.
Yeah. I think it's dependent on how big the co-op is. If it's like a lot of the game where you're like,
Mhm.
you can level up and just kind of chill with your friends, and yeah, I probably will buy it. Like,
That would be
immediately.
so good, wouldn't it?
Yes.
What if it? Okay, how about this? How about this for how it plays? You join your friend's world, and then you can go and catch stuff together. But then whenever you go into gyms, you're kind of doing your own thing. So it's like if they've already beaten that gym, it's like whatever, right? But for you, it's like, okay, well, now it's my turn to beat the gym, right? And so they can go out and be like catching fucking Pokemon or do whatever they want. And you're going through and making progression in your own world. And it really treats it like there's all these Pokemon trainers all doing this shit at the same time, right? So maybe like the story beats don't happen, but maybe like the gym progression stuff that is like, hey, any trainer can go out and do a gym. Like that plays out like it would. I feel like that's the best way to do it, which is exactly why that's not going to be how they do it.
Yeah. I was waiting for the beat to drop.
Yeah.
I was just imagining like other Pokemon trainers, like kind of like Dark Soul ghosts in behind you while you're fighting,
Right.
and like just like messing it up. It's just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
I doubt that'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Then if you're listening to this and there's something that we missed or that you have any thoughts on, please do send us a note. And I think that does it then for our discussion on Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. And we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. I said this on the Discord to somebody, but I've been all over the place. I've been playing a lot of different things in a lot of different places. Been just like messing around on the Steam Deck, playing indie games that got on itch bundles and random stuff, just like firing up stuff, seeing if it clicks. Like I played some first 10 or 15 levels of Baba Is You. I don't know. I played like 3 other games on there.
What do you think of Baba Is You?
I liked it, but I didn't like I said, I played the first 10 or 15 levels and I haven't gone back to it. Partly because of maybe what I'll get into in a minute. I've been playing the Mario Kart 8 tracks. And then we decided that we would cancel our Apple Arcade subscription because my wife had been playing a game regularly and she beat it and was done. And it was like, let's just put it on pause. We could always get it later. And then it doesn't expire till the end of the month. So I was like, I'm going to go on Apple Arcade and use this for a little bit and see what I can find. And I've always loved the Kingdom Rush games, and they just added the most recent Kingdom Rush game, Kingdom Rush Vengeance. These are tower defense games. And I've kind of been obsessed with playing Kingdom Rush Vengeance on my phone through Apple Arcade lately.
Very cool.
That's really what I've been doing the last several days. And that's kind of taken up most of my gaming time, honestly. Man, I played so much Kingdom. I can say this now because I quit this job. I used to play Kingdom Rush at work a lot. And
good for you.
Now
fuck
I'm
the
playing
fucking
it.
man.
Yeah. Yes, Kingdom Rush is you said a tower defense.
It's a
mobile
tower
game.
defense series. They're not mobile games. I mean, they obviously now are, but like they originated. I used to play them on like Armor Games, like the website.
Oh yeah.
And then you can get them on Steam and stuff. And I even was so obsessed with playing it at work that I bought they were free, but you could buy extra stuff to have extra levels and stuff. And I would buy that just because it killed time so well.
Love to hear it. Mine's real quick. I've been playing 2 games. One of them you already know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I am 40 hours into it on chapter 4. I have no idea how many chapters are. People are talking about how long it is in the Discord, and I have steered clear of all spoilers so far. I'm being surprised left and right by that game, and it is the best in the series. Loving it.
Yeah.
It's just
I've heard chapter 4 in particular has an incredible story. Like the story gets really, really good at that point.
Yeah, it's ratcheted up quite a bit. This is slowly becoming probably in my top 10 to 15 games of all time.
Wow.
It's just so fun and enjoyable, and they perfected the Xenoblade formula quite a bit. And then the second game I'm playing, Analog Dominoes, more playing Dominoes IRL. Spending more time at here in Austin, long play. Just hanging out, getting drinks with friends, playing IRL Dominoes. So if you're in Austin, you want to talk and or play a game that's very chill, I'm embracing my old man and playing lots of dominoes, Mexican trained dominoes specifically.
Very good. I talked about Domino's the other day. The pizza. No, the game. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna cut this out. I'm sorry. I don't have anything to add. I was just like, I said that recently as well.
I know Domino's too.
But if you want, I'm always interested if you want to play dominoes while eating dominoes. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me know.
That actually sounds like a pretty good time. Get grease all over those fucking pieces.
yeah.
That'd be nice.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll go next. I haven't been playing too much. I've been playing some more Pokemon Picross on Game Boy Color. On the unreleased Pokemon Picross game that was unearthed in the Giga Leak. I've been playing that on my Steam Deck. I now have Picross on every system that I own. I try to make a point to have Picross on every system I own. And then what else have I been playing? I downloaded Frogun, but I haven't played it yet because I was really busy just getting wasted for my birthday this weekend. But I'll get around to that next week, and I'll let you guys know what I think about that game. Still got a lot of games to beat. On Switch, pretty much nothing new. Just Mario Kart 8, playing a ton of that. Going through some of the missions on Sonic. But then I did want to talk about this little thing that I just got for my birthday, which is it's hard to catch the light on it, but it is the Playdate. My dad got me one of these for my birthday, and this thing is so goddamn cute. As you can see, it's a very small console. It's about maybe like a fifth of the size of the Steam Deck, just in width and height alone. But it's super cute and it's super fun. And it's definitely, the whole thing is just a gimmick, but it's like a really fun gimmick. And it's like really pro developer device, right? Like, when you buy a Playdate, it basically comes with season 1 of Playdate games or whatever, right? And so what that means is when you load it up for the first time, it comes with 2 games, and then every week they drop 2 more games on your device through the internet. So you'll just like pick it up and you notice it's flashing and you're like, oh, I guess new games showed up. So that's kind of a cool way to do it, to be honest, because then it's like, instead of like burning through 24 games as soon as you get it, you're like actually spending, like, oh, okay, I gotta take a poop. I'm gonna take my Playdate in there and like try out this game a little bit, and you get to kind of, you actually spend more time with the games than you would have if they were all dropped at once, right? So I'm enjoying that. And then it's also super easy to sideload games too. Like anybody can make games for this thing, and then you just take the file and you drop it onto their website in a little section called sideload under your account, and then it just downloads the games onto your thing. So you never even have to plug it into a computer or anything. Super easy. I also have a Picross game sideloaded on this as well. I was
about to ask, actually.
Yeah. It's called, what is the one that I have on here called? It's called Sketch Share Solve. So whatever. I guess you can't call just anything Picross. That's trademarked by Nintendo. But yeah, a couple standouts so far on the Playdate. Whitewater Wipeout is a super fun game. Also this thing has a crank, as you can see. It's kind of like part of the gimmick of this device is that it has a little crank for input. And so like Whitewater Wipeout is a game that uses that, where you're basically surfing and you're going like up and down the wave, kind of depending on where your crank is done. And then when you go up the wave, you can like spin it really fast 3 times to do like a bunch of turns, and you have to like land good or else you like lose a life. So there's little things like that. There's one also called, what is this one called? It's the one that was in all the ads for it, but it's basically called, let's see, Time Travel Adventures. And no, you can hear it now. Sorry, I'll shut that off. But that's a really fun one when you're like a robot going forward and backwards in time with the crank. So I'm really enjoying it. It's a super fun little device. We'll see how long I actually play around with this thing. But for the time being, it was a great birthday present. It's very much my shit. I'm really enjoying playing through it and looking at all these new games when they show up. Great little device, really well made as well.
I feel like the Playdate is something we'll see at like MoMA or the Guggenheim at some point.
Yeah.
Just like it's a piece of art. You know, teenage engineering worked on it. It's like such a pretty piece of hardware.
Yeah. It's a really nice piece of tech. And I mean, last time I was at one of the games y'all's, I was talking to some people that were developing games for the Playdate. They make it really easy to develop for. There's a whole game builder built into browser. It's like an in-browser game maker. So it's like very easy to make games for it. So I'm looking forward to trying out some weirdo shit in the future. No, but it's very, very, very nice dad. Very nice gift. Rob, what about you? What have you been playing, man?
Well, always Hades. Not always. Every few weeks or so, I'll pick it back up. Have a few challenges left to finish on that, and I'll probably never stop playing it. Power Wash Simulator, which
Let's go.
That one
That's
makes
like
me
the
feel
game of
guilty.
the summer. It feels like everybody's fucking playing that game.
Yeah, but like I have chores around the house that can be done. So, like,
I need literal cleaning I need to be
Yeah.
doing, but I'm
I'll be
doing
playing
fake
it for like
cleaning.
an hour, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, there's dishes
Yeah.
downstairs, but some reason it like makes me feel like I've done something today. And then Stray, I just picked that up. Haven't played much of it, but I plan to. I just played like 10 minutes, and then my computer started acting weird. I can probably definitely fix it, but I was just like,
Yeah.
all right, well, it's bedtime anyway.
Yeah.
And then one other game I really play right now is this like workout game on Oculus. That's not really, I mean, it's a game, but it's not, I don't know, I'm not playing it to have fun. Or
Mm.
Right.
I guess in a way, but it's just more move, do stuff, and don't have to go outside.
When you play that game,
It's
do you
hot.
find that you have a permanent red circle around your face?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do, but usually I have this like a sweatband they make for Oculus because
Oh, okay.
that was definitely a problem of having to
Yeah.
take it off to like wipe my face off constantly. So
Yeah.
got like 3 of these sweatbands that go right there, and you still get some marks, but they're not as bad now.
Yeah. That's good to hear. That's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Pro tip.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. That's kind of been part of the reason I haven't played games. Is I always just have a big red circle around my eyes whenever I play Oculus.
Awesome. Well, I think that does it then for this episode on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Thanks so much, Rob, for coming on and talking to us. We appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick Online, I'm PDYX.
I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Rob? Where can people find you online?
Let's go with Instagram. I think my name is like Sublime Lime.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Rob's Instagram. Great photographer. I really like your photos, Rob.
Oh yeah, I take pictures sometimes. That's true. I was in Costa Rica. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. I had a great time out there. Great. Yeah. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, ladies and gentlemen, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheads.com. And then, as always, we're going to have links to our Facebook group and our Discord in the description of this video or podcast. Make sure you join the Discord, folks. We're getting new members all the time. It's like one of the most wonderful, non-toxic communities on the internet. I was at the party. I was talking to Emma for a while. We just gushed on the Discord for a while. It was like, man, there's just so many places out there where gamers can just be real pieces of shit. And that is not in our community. And it is so nice to have an internet community where everybody's just chill. So make sure you join that one. Unless you're toxic, in which case, fuck off. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode. Very much looking forward to future episodes. So make sure you tune in for all of the new stuff that we have coming down the pipe. But that's going to do it. You know the drill, folks. Be safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Wash your hands. Get that vaccine. But other than that, we love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.